This question will be for Commissioner Patterson. And I'm going to lay this out, and I got about 3 points here that are going to be important to why I'm asking you this question. Because of your quite vocal and unprecedented stand at the 2012 Republican State Convention in support of something called the Texas Solution, you have been dubbed by some conservatives as Mr. Open Borders. Please explain your position on your immigration reform priorities based on this quote from Stephen McCraw, the director of Texas DPS. So now, let me say again, I'm asking you to reflect upon your immigration policies and priorities based on what I'm going to tell you is a quote from Stephen McCraw. He was quoted in a June 8, 2012 Fort Worth Star-Telegram article entitled, "DFW is now a command and control center for Mexican cartels." Point number 1, Mexican cartels constitute the greatest organized crime threat to the state, per head of DPS. According to the Texas Public Safety Threat Overview that was released by DPS in March of this year, 6 of 8 of the major cartels are operating in Texas. That report also cites the cartel's use of military tactics to push back at Texas law enforcement. Please explain your position on the Texas Solution as it reflects on these specific issues.
It can't be explained. There's absolutely no relation. Let me tell you what my position on the Texas Solution is. It's the same as the overwhelming majority of folks at the Republican Convention in Fort Worth in June of 2012. What my position on immigration is I oppose the amnesty Gang of Eight bill that is in Washington, D.C. right now. I oppose the current system of unqualified birthright citizenship. I oppose the amnesty as a path to legalization, as a path to citizenship. I oppose the continued use of things that enhance and entice people to come here, such as bilingual ballots. I support voter ID, and I support military forces on the border. I support fences where it makes sense, and I support the Texas Solution. To say those two things are related in any manner is completely bogus. What I will also tell you here, that at least 3 of the candidates sitting here tonight support that we do not deport 12 million illegal aliens. Todd Staples has said that. Dan Patrick has said that. Jerry Patterson supports the Texas Solution. They also support a guest worker program, which is in the Texas Solution. Todd supports it. Dan supports a guest worker program. And Todd put it best, I believe, when he said he didn't want to live in a state or a country that has the police power to deport 12 million people. What we need is a secure border, and part of that secure border pursuit will be attained by the Texas Solution that was overwhelmingly adopted at the Republican Convention in June of 2012 in Fort Worth after a 2-hour debate. I am proud that I stood up for that. I am proud that I stood up for more border security and the guest worker program as envisioned by at least 2 of my colleagues and in the Texas Solution.
Okay, thank you. Senator Patrick, it's your turn now to ask Commissioner Patterson a question.
Let me clarify something. I did not support your resolution at the convention.
I didn't say you did. I supported, you supported the guest worker program, and you support the provision that we do not deport 12 million people. And you said that on the radio.
I only support a guest worker program after we have full or near full employment of American citizens. If American citizens are employed and we have jobs that need to be filled, then we can have a guest worker program. But currently, the illegals who are here are taking jobs away from Americans, particularly entry-level jobs, and it's one of the reasons we have high unemployment. Here's my question for you. You and I were at a forum in Pasadena not long ago. and I made the statement that I am the only person running for lieutenant governor who opposes in-state tuition, and you disagreed. But you told the El Paso newspaper back in February that you opposed in-state tuition for illegals. However,
Senator, it's time.
But here's my question. You wanted to find a way
Is
to
this
find
time
a
up,
legal...
or is this time not
My
up?
question is, do you support
Is this time up or is this time
in-state
not up?
tuition, or do you want to find a legal way to get illegal students in-state tuition? What is your true
I
position?
do not support in-state tuition for illegal aliens. I don't understand what your question is. What are you saying?
You told the El Paso Times you wanted to find a legal status so illegal students could get in-state tuition in Texas. Do you stand by your statement?
Let me just say this. No, I do not. I do not support in-state tuition for illegal aliens. What I support is an immigration solution, and then we wouldn't have that problem.
You didn't tell...
I don't know what you mentioned this in Pasadena,
Yeah.
and I have yet to see any proof of it.
Okay.
But what I will
be
also
happy to
tell you,
offer.
Dan, what I will also tell you is I've looked at the video today of you talking to the Woodlands Tea Party, in which you said that you're opposed to the deportation of 12 million
I am.
illegal aliens. You said that.
I am.
Okay, and because it can't be done. That's my position
Correct.
as well. That's Todd's position
Correct.
as well. I
I
don't know
agree.
about David. And you also said that you support a guest worker program in that same video at the Woodlands Tea Party event. Is that not accurate? Do you support a guest worker program?
Once
Yes, sir.
Americans are employed, I do.
Well, you didn't say that, though. Now you're qualifying it.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, and if your tape person is taping every word I say... And
No, but it's not the only, you've got it in writing. So what I'm saying is, there's really no difference on the position,
No,
at
there
least
is.
from three of us here.
No,
No, there is no difference. Where do you differ? Tell me where you differ.
I don't believe that we should find a legal status, which you told the newspaper in El Paso, and I'll be happy to provide the media with your article.
Yeah,
where you
please
said,
do, Dan.
I will. Where you want to find a legal way so that illegal
This
students
is
can have
kind of a
in-state tuition.
reach.
And say, no, it's not a reach. You want to find legal status for students who are here illegally so they can get in-state tuition. It's a way of you can say, I'm against it, but I'm for it. And I do
Kind of
not
like the
support...
budget that you voted
and-
for and then voted against?
No, I voted against the budget.
You voted
And I
for
voted
it, came out of
against the-
committee, then you voted against it when you're
The
running
final
for
vote
lieutenant
is the
governor.
one that counts, Commissioner.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
the last
Okay.
vote is the one that counts.
last vote is
Okay,
what
the time is up. Now, let me just say this right now. If we don't stick to the topic, then the little fun stuff of going back and forth is going to go away, and I'm going to ask all the questions, and that's not going to be nearly as fun.
It-
So now, let me say this again. We're getting way off of making speeches before we ask the question. So let's get to the question. And you all are very smart. You've been politicians a long time. And so you know how to ask a question and ask it really to get to the point. So now, let's ask the questions, get to the point. Now, I'm going to let Commissioner Staples weigh in here. And then I have a feeling we're going to have to go back over Joanne's original point here because we've lost it in all of this. So, Commissioner Staples, ask a question, please.
Jerry, you have pushed the Texas solution at the convention.
That's correct.
The Texas solution is silent on what to do with the status of citizenship for those that are here.
That's correct.
So, in developing my plan, it's a very specific 6-point immigration reform plan that does not include amnesty and starts with border security. Put it all in writing, put it in a book. You do have on your website, you oppose amnesty as a path to citizenship. So we just need clarity because the Texas solution, as it's written today, leaves it unanswered with a big issue that is really derailing, securing our border, stopping the drug cartels because it's been hijacked in Washington that those that want to give away citizenship buy cotton candy at a county fair.
Time.
You're absolutely
And
correct.
so
But
where are you on that?
where you
What do you
err-
mean by that?
Yeah, where you err is you're talking about the Texas solution only. There is a whole lot more immigration language in the Republican Party platform that talks to amnesty. I oppose amnesty, period, categorically, no matter how you cut it, dice
my-
it, or slice it.
my question is, in your platform, you say you oppose amnesty as a component of a pathway to citizenship.
I oppose amnesty as a pathway to citizenship.
So what do you mean on your pathway to citizenship? You agree that there is a pathway to citizenship? That
Where?
For those that are here unlawfully
No,
today?
I do not. No, I do not. Just as you've taken the position, and I admire you when you chaired the Southern Agriculture Association's committee, and you came out with the suggestion and recommendation that we have a guest worker program, and then you later mentioned that you don't believe we should deport 12 million illegal aliens in the U.S. because it's impossible.
That's incorrect. It was later, and it's much more complex and comprehensive, and has a lot of specificity.
Well,
We're going to talk about that
you said, and I quote, "I don't want to live in a country that has the police power to deport 12 million people." And I'm quoting.
No, that's a wrong quote.
San Antonio Express News.
That's a wrong quote. What the quote is, I don't want to live in a country whose government is big enough that can round up 11 to 20 million people.
Okay,
That's
you
the
don't want to
specific
live in a
quote.
country whose government is big enough. Is that right?
I don't want a government that's big enough to round up 11 to 20.
So
That's
I
the
take
correct
that
quote.
to mean you oppose the deportation of 12 million illegal aliens because you don't want to live in a country whose government's big enough. Is that a nuance that's
I'll let
accurate?
you ask me a question when it's my turn
Well,
and your
you
turn
know,
to
I
do
mean,
this. So right now, I'm really trying to find
you
out
need
what your
to-
position is on a pathway to citizenship that's held up in Washington. That's really what I'm...
opposed to the Gang of Eight immigration bill. It's dead on arrival for two major reasons. It has a pathway to citizenship via amnesty, and it is a full employment act for organized labor. For those reasons, and probably others, it should die, and I hope it does. So, and that's very clearly stated.
Time. Governor Dewhurst, would you like to ask Commissioner Patterson a question?
I would. Lest anyone not know where I stand on some of these issues, I'll say this very, very quickly. I categorically oppose a pathway to citizenship because I feel it's not fair. You've got literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people around the world who are trying to follow the rules, and they've applied, and I think it's unfair to have a pathway to citizenship where people are cutting in line. So I oppose that. I've opposed for years and spoken against it, against in-state tuition for illegal aliens. A late famous philosopher, Sonny Bono, once said, "What's to talk about? It's illegal." All right? It's illegal immigration. Commissioner, I was down on the border on Thursday on gunboats. Isn't the answer to solve these problems to finally secure the border like we're doing right now in Texas with the DPS, with the exercise going on that just finished today, and stop dangerous illegal immigration, human trafficking, drug trafficking, and transnational gangs, as Joanne talked about, that are coming in and operating?
Your question was, should we
use the Texas model
Yes.
that we are demonstrating right
We
now?
should.
Where over the last 3 weeks we have shut down a surge of people coming into Texas by using a model in which we're stopping the illegal immigration at the river
We should do
until
that.
it gets to the cities where we don't have any control.
Well, yes, we should do that, and we should quit creating an inviting environment for folks to come here and break our laws. Of the four of us sitting here, there's only one that voted for in-state tuition for illegal aliens, and that would be Commissioner Staples. And not only that, if you read the book that Commissioner Staples put out, he says that that bill passed unanimously. It did not. There were several Republicans who voted against it.
That's not what the
So
book says,
I
Jerry.
agree with you that we need to secure our borders using the DPS as you described, but we also need to stop creating an inviting environment, and we shouldn't do things like propose in-state tuition for illegal aliens like Commissioner Staples voted for.
Okay. Perhaps the debate master didn't ask the question right, so let me try again. Sometimes what is left out of a proposal says as much about one's mindset as what's in there. Nowhere in the Texas solution does it address the issue of law enforcement. and the issues that law enforcement has, well, let me just quote Stephen McCraw again, who's executive director of DPS. Mexican cartels constitute the greatest organized crime threat to the state of Texas. And DFW is now, that's Dallas-Fort Worth, is now a command and control center for Mexican cartels. My question is, how did we get here? So let me start this again, and everybody's going to have 30 seconds to answer this, okay? So we're going to start right over here with Commissioner Patterson. We're going to go around. How did we get to this position?
Because the federal government failed to live up to its duty, abdicated its responsibility to secure our borders. That's how we got here.
Okay. I'm going to do hers.
I agree. The federal government has failed horribly to put the people on the border necessary to secure the border. I've been advocating tripling the size of our Border Patrol, which would secure our border. This phenomena that you're talking about, Joanne, it's called transnational gangs. They're the muscle for the cartels, and they're operating in all the cities, including DFW. And it's because the border is porous, contrary to the lies of President Obama, where he says the border is secure. It's not secure.
Senator Patrick.
Very quickly, from 2008 to 2012, folks, we've arrested 141,000 illegal criminals in our state who have been charged with 441,000 crimes, including 2,000 murders and 5,000 rapes. The federal government is not doing its job, but we can't use that as an excuse. It's our job in Texas to secure our border, and one of the reasons I voted against the budget was because this budget that the Democrats love cut funding for border security and to fight criminal justice gangs, and that's why I voted against the budget.
That is simply not true, Senator.
That is
simply not true.
You need to go read it, Governor.
I've read it.
Trust me, we cut it.
Commissioner Staples.
Thank you. Jerry, you need to get your facts right on a lot of things. And in fact, on the bill that created in-state tuition was predicated on the assumption that those students would correct their status. That has not been enforced, and it should be repealed. And I'm glad to hear you talking about it today. You haven't been for the last 10 years. And Governor Dewhurst and Senator Patrick have been in the Senate. They have not changed that law. I will as Lieutenant Governor. I will tell you that I have used my resources at my agency to fund border security, tangible results, and Operation Drawbridge that has resulted in the apprehension of 16,000 illegally individuals entering our nation and the confiscation of 35 tons of narcotics. I will change our status from a reactionary to proaction.
Thank you. Time's up. Okay, now, so let's talk about, we're all getting acclimated to each other up here, and everybody's just having a wonderful time. So now, when I say time, that means finish a sentence, don't start another paragraph, okay? So let's finish a sentence and let's get down to it. Now, I still want to go around one more time because the people of Texas, I'm going to have to make an editorial comment here. The people of Texas are sick and tired of state officials pointing to the federal government and telling us over and over what's wrong. So I'm going to give you all one chance. We're going to start over here with Commissioner Staples, and I want everybody on this panel to give us a definition of the interior enforcement of the rule of law in 30 seconds, Mr. Rivera.
You're going to have to give more than 30 seconds, Joanne.
No.
If you want to talk about something that
Just define it.
If you want to talk about how to secure our nation, how to stop 1 million people from coming in illegally, we're going to need more than 30 seconds to do that. Lives are being lost. Landowners are being chased off their property. So can we go a minute at least to
At
secure
the
our
end,
nation?
we may go a minute, but I just want a simple, there is a way to define this. Okay, I'm going to lead the witnesses here, y'all. I'm going to lead the witnesses. Reflect upon your oath of office. Reflect upon what the definition of interior is and what the definition of rule of law is. And I know you guys can do it in 30 seconds. Start again. Start again, Commissioner. I know you got it in you.
I've taken an oath to protect and defend the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution at different levels, and that's what it's really about, is defending these constitutional principles. We can do that as a state of Texas. We do not have to wait on the federal government. That's why I developed a 6-point specific plan that starts with border security. You can use low cost, high tech to have a big impact. We are a reactionary force today. We need to be proactive in developing that strategy.
See there. Okay, Senator Patrick, define interior enforcement of the rule of law.
Well, there's a lot of things we can do. I, too, took an oath. I took an oath as a Marine to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I took an oath as a state senator.
Whoa.
Land commissioner. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of unconditional birthright citizenship.
Thank you. You know what, crowd? Nobody told you my background. You would not believe the number of big committees I've chaired before, and they were worse than this. So now I'm very, very patient. So now let me go again. Senator Patrick, define the interior enforcement of the rule of law, please.
As I said in my opening, as I said here again, we cannot blame this. We've had our local elected and state officials too long blaming the federal government. It's our job to protect the interior of the state of Texas. It is their job to protect the border of the United States with Mexico. And that's why, again, I opposed our budget. We cut funding to protect our border. We cut funding to fight criminal gangs. As Lieutenant Governor, that will be the #1 priority, because that we must do to protect the state of Texas.
Okay.
That's our job. There are no excuses.
Okay. Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you. I also took an oath of office, both as an officer in the United States Air Force and as Lieutenant Governor, to defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. We need to secure our border, Joanne, and keep people out, gangs and narcotics. And I prefer having that line at the river and not in the cities where people can get lost and it's hard to find them. At the same time, the rule of law in the interior. We need to enforce all of our laws in every part of our state, every city, including sanctuary cities, which we passed out of the Senate in June of 2011.
Time, Governor, time.